a minute. Mic is muted. Let's start over. Happy morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone. It's such an exciting time to be here, and it's such a great time because we're doing something different this morning. So, good morning. I am Tameka L. Williamson, college consultant, known as the College Prep Boss. And yeah, can I just say how excited I am? Just excited. And I'm gonna have some friends joining me this morning. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I'm not gonna put anybody in front of you whom I don't trust, whom I don't support, I wouldn't support, or anything. I'm very careful about who I put in front of my audience, who I put in front of my parents, and all that good stuff. Hey, Sarah Pam, thanks for joining. And so you're in for a treat. You know, we believe in supporting one another. We believe in the village approach with the College for Free journey process. And we're going to mimic some of that right here live live this morning rather. So, of course, I'm kicking it off and then I'm gonna close it out. But you want to stay tuned. And if you can't stay the whole time, the great thing is this is recorded. You get to watch the replay. So that leads me to this point right here. I need you to tag somebody right now. I know everybody's doing all kind of shopping, but here's the thing. If you know of a college bound family, because I know everybody knows somebody who has a baby or some babies in high school, in middle school, because we need to change that paradigm and start planning sooner. In middle school, in high school, who wants to go to college, who's thinking about how to go to college, what they need to do, how they need to do it. And they likely don't have the funds to shell out 200,000, 150,000 on the low end. I mean, that's a real low end, and just write a check, shell out that kind of money. They're not sitting on those type of funds. You need to know and understand how to make the college process affordable, because it can happen, and there are things you can do. So the offerings we have this morning is going to speak to that. But I did say I'm bringing on some friends, right? So we got a CPA coming to talk to you about the money management side, how to teach your baby how to manage their money. Because when we start getting into stats around debt, so not only do you have the student loan debt crisis, but you have kids when they get to college, they are prime targets for credit card debt, as well as they're targets for phishing scams and identity theft. You know, I was sharing with some of my college students that I'm coaching this week, and was talking to them about how to protect themselves, how to protect their credit, because college students are prime target right now. And that is not a headache, mom and dad, you want your baby to go through, because they go through it, you're going to go through it, as well as if they get compromised, there's a greater chance you can get compromised. So you want to tune in for my Sarah Holly. She's going to talk about her money playbook program. And we're going to bring in my buddy, business partner, let's see, fellow SU alum, just the great Anthony AJ Joyner. Now, he is a man of many talents, but he is going to share. Is there anybody out there who thought about writing a book, who keep saying, I'm going to write a book one day. I got these notes and all that good stuff. And one of these days, Lord, just one of these days, I'm going to put it into actual form and I'm going to publish it. Well, I want you to definitely tune in, because there's a tool that you can use that makes the writing process that much easier. Okay. It uses artificial intelligence. And when I say it's the hottest thing out there, it is. And I'm not telling you about it because I don't know about it. I'm telling you about it because I know about it. Now, it's a lot more advanced than when I used it, because I actually was able to use his software tool in the beta stage, and I used it to publish books number 8 and 9, and it helped to accelerate my writing process because of some of the features that was available. I'm not gonna give away all the secrets, all the tools that's in it, but it helped me to get both books written within 5 days. You heard me. Both books written within 5 days. Okay, because I had a deadline with my publisher, and life happened, and so many things just came up, and I was down to the wire, and I didn't have no choice but to get it done. Blooksy helped me get both books ready, and the file sent to my publisher before my deadline was up. So we're gonna have AJ Joyner, but before those two come, we're gonna have, man, I call her Miss Jackie because that's just out of respect. I love Miss Jackie. I was fortunate to meet Miss Jackie, oh gosh, many years ago. It actually came up on my timeline somewhere because I sent it to one of my students. I met her at Stephen Marjorie Harvey's Girls Who Rule the World. Who rule the world? Girls. Who rule the world? Girls. So we were both speaking at the event, and Miss Jackie had been speaking there for years doing her 3D sex talks. Now, parents, let me tell you something. You want your baby to be around Miss Jackie. You want your baby to have some of Miss Jackie's teachings in their lives. I'm not going to get all into what Miss Jackie brings to the table, but I'm so grateful for what she does and the grace that she's been given to continue to do it, because it's necessary. Working with young people like I do and have been over the years, I see a lot of different things. And I don't talk a whole lot about some of the things I do with young folks because I work with foster care youth. I've been able to work with victims of sex trafficking. So there are some things we do that we just kind of keep confidential because of the nature of who we're dealing with. But the information Miss Jackie gives and how she avails herself, we need more Miss Jackies. So she's going to be coming up next. So you gotta tune in. You gotta be here. All right. So let me just go ahead and just share a little bit. What is College for Free doing this year? Well, College for Free decided to, again, we're doing something different. We're doing this live, and we're also offering some new products. We're introducing something new. If you're on our mailing list and you're in our private Facebook group, you've already been teased and now given access to it. So I'm going to start with unveiling the newest addition to the College for Free suite of products. Let me tell you, I am so excited about this. I don't even know what to do with myself. So let me see here, because what I need to do is I need to share something with you. So let me share this file here, and I hope y'all are excited as I am. Now, let's go ahead and do the unveiling, and then I'll talk to you about it. Let's see. Now I'm going to turn the audio down on it. But what you see is the new College Kickstart Planner. Woo! Let's bring in some excitement here. The College Kickstart Planner. You're just getting a glimpse of what is on the inside. If you've been around me long enough, you know I am a certified project manager. So being PMP certified, being a certified project manager, the importance of planning is just, it's just an understatement. Those who fail to plan to fail. And, I used to always teach the 5 Ps, and sometimes I would do the 6 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. In the college admissions world, there's so many moving parts, so many layers, so many deadlines. You have to, you got to be careful. You have to be mindful of those timelines. And when you're not managing those timelines accordingly, it's just going to be that much more difficult for you to keep up with the process. You're going to get lost, confused, frustrated. Your anxiety is going to kick in on 100, and it's going to impact what you are able to deliver. So what we've done is, we listen to feedback, we listen to the struggles, and we come together and we create something that becomes the solution to your problems. You know, we talk about how our mission, our goal is to take the anxiety, to take the stress, to take the pain out of you paying for college. And we know that everybody is at different levels. So we aim to have products and services that caters to everybody at different levels. Okay. So what we've done is we've done just that. So I am going to I got some pictures of it. So I'm just going to show you just a few things here. Um, and then I'll talk to you about what the whole thing is. Let's do this one. So here's the outside of the planner. Well, I said the outside. I don't know. Am I showing you this is the outside of the planner. So it is a spiral hardbound planner. It is a 12-month planner taking you from January to February. Now, it's not quite your traditional planner because we did customize it so that it could lay out and have different focus areas. So let me show you what some of those areas look like without giving you too many things. I at least want to give you a taste. So when you look at the planner, every month has a different focus, and every focus leads to a different type of assignment, different types of tasks you're going to be given. And this planner was created to work with our new membership program. So let's stop sharing our new membership program. So yes, we now have a new membership program. All of this is kicking off in January 2023. So we are getting families ready because you've heard me say it time and time again. The time to what? Get ready. The time to be ready is not the time to get ready. You must be prepared and learn how to stay ready. Those who are ready are always in position to take advantage of opportunities. And I hear families, these are some of the common things families ask us, and this is what this planner is addressing. You know, one, I don't even know what to do. We don't know when to start. We don't even know how to start. Everybody focuses on scholarships, but there's a whole bunch of other things that must happen in order to be ready for scholarships. You can't just go and apply for scholarships. It's like going, so my baby, it's like you going to get your driver's license and you hadn't even studied for the test. You don't know what's in the exam. So you got to think about this whole process. Going to apply for scholarships and don't even know what to present for a scholarship, what scholarship organizations are looking for, what colleges are looking for, you're setting yourself up for failure. So what we've done is we've broke down each month into 12 core areas where you're going to get a training. You're going to get a downloadable resource that's going to help you manage through that learning process. If you get the journal, well, the planner rather, if you get the planner will help you manage your tasks, schedule assignments, keep track of them, and all those other things, keep you focused. And you'll also get scholarships because we always get where to find scholarships. How can I find scholarships? So what we decided to do is we're going to have every month, we're going to have 10 scholarships of the month. And so we're going to share 10 scholarships. So 10 scholarships over 12 months, that's 120 scholarships. That's enough to get you started. And pay attention to what I said, get you started. It is not supposed to be the solution to scholarships because there's no way we can even cover the vast majority of scholarships that you're going to even qualify for or need to be able to look for. There are billions of dollars worth of scholarship opportunities out there. So you're still going to have to put in some, get some elbow grease and put in some work. This is not for us to do the work for you, but it is to help guide you so that you can know how to do the work. So if you are looking at how to start, where to start, what do I need to do? That's why it's called the College Kickstart Planner. Okay. The College Kickstart Planner. Let me just bring that back up again, because I just want to make sure. I just want y'all to see this. This thing is, don't laugh at me, y'all. This thing is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I can't wait for you to have your own copy and have it in your hands, because it's a game changer. It is designed, again, to help keep you on focus. So when you get the planner, you can buy the planner by itself and you can just do it on your own. That's fine. The planner, everything right now is 50% off, because you coming in now by the end of Black Friday weekend, which is Monday night, you are able to get everything at 50% off. So you're going to get the planner for 50% off. So we're offering the planner at $46.99. And because this is the founding members rate. And you also get the membership program. So again, it's a 12-month membership program. You're going to get a discount for if you buy all 12 months up front. Or you can go ahead and do the month-to-month membership, because it is a monthly membership program. It is the only program that we have that's designed as a membership, where you can cancel and you don't have to go the entire month. You may say, hey, I just need the first 3 months and that's it. That's your choice. It is a membership program, and that is how it's designed. So you get started by $49. Again, 50% off, because after Black Friday weekend, it is going up to what the regular price is going to be to get in. So you get to get in here at the founding member level. So who's going to be a founding member? Because every founding member who signs up, you're going to get in advance January as a downloadable document. You're going to get a training for this year to help you get ready to kick off 2023 on the right foot. And of course, you're going to have some a downloadable file to help you get prepared and ready to kick off the year when the program actually starts. All right. And you may get something else, because we were playing with something else too. So you never know. But those are the two big bonuses you're going to get. So not only are you getting it at half the rate, you're also going to get a downloadable copy of January, and you're going to get free training to get you ready. So this is the planner. It complements, it goes right in hand with the 12-month membership. So if you want that yearly yearly training, and there will be bi-monthly Q&A. It's not a monthly Q&A, and it does not focus on strategy. So I want to make sure that's clear. That's what our VIP coaching program is. That gets into the strategy side and helping you put all the pieces, knowing how to put the pieces together. This is not that. This is only the educational. This is what we call the ground level. This is the high school level of the program, because the VIP coaching program is the college level. All right. That's what we're looking at it from a strategic standpoint. But you get started $49 if you're doing month to month, or $4.90, because you get to save 20%. You save 2 months off to pay for the year up in advance. And if you pay for the year in advance, you get the planner for free. How about that? You get the planner for free. All right. So the program kickstarts off again in 2023. The planners, everything is shipping at the start of January as well. So I want to make sure that is clear. This is a pre-sale because they are en route. They're already in production. They're going to start shipping out and delivering the first part of January. All right. So that is the College Kickstart Planner. Now we're going to also, I can do this one real quick, because we got another deal. I'm not going to get into that quite yet, because it's almost time to bring Miss Jackie on. Woo! But in case you're wondering, I'll just drop a little nugget. We've always offered a discount when we had families with multiple kids, because we've been fortunate to have parents entrust us with their babies. And they were like, no, you're not just going to get one. You're going to coach the whole family. And we've always been of the mindset, this is an investment Because people, let me make it clear, you're not investing in Tameka L. Williamson. You're investing in your family. You're investing in your scholar. You are investing in their future. So you must invest at the level in which you must invest in the level of the outcome in which you desire to get. So let's be clear, you're not investing in me, you're investing in your future. And when they make those investments, we believe in, that's just who we are. We like to make it as affordable as possible. So we've always taken the second or third, because we've had some families where we've had three of their kids. The first child is full price. All the subsequent children are half off. So what we decided to do, because the dynamics of the family has changed, we got the rich aunties, we have the grandparents taking care of the babies, we got auntie and uncle taking care of extended family members. And so we basically are extending what we just call the BFF, grab a friend, because again, the village approach, you should not do this process alone. You want to capitalize on your village, and that's something we teach at the strategic level. But grab your friends, do it together. So we're extending the BOGO to everybody. Go grab a friend and get a bigger savings. Okay, so I'll talk more about that later. If you don't have the books, this is the College for Free, what we call the Success Bundle, where you get the planner. I mean, not the planner, the journal. See, I'm getting tongue tied with all the different terms. Now, this is very different from what the planner is. Okay, that planner is built month by month, and it takes you through what the membership program is dealing with from a planning perspective. This is to complement. This is the journal. So this has task in it. It's hardbound as well, but this has task in it that complements the College for Free book. So it's like you got the knowledge and the information here to learn. This gives you the opportunity to apply it. And then this is our book that deals with all our case studies. So we have this marked down at a major rate. So you get all three of these books, okay, at a discount. So we'll come back to that, because it is almost time to bring on Miss Jackie. But before we do that, I forgot to say something about the planner. So thank you, Pam, for asking that question, because I had it in my mind, but my brain be moving fast and I forgot. The College Kickstart planner, as well as the membership program, is really ideal and is great for families who are starting the process early. So my middle school family, so I would say grade 7 to 9th grade. Grade 7 to 9th grade, it is ideal for those families. Grade 7 through 9th grade. 7th through 9th grade. The College Kickstart, that's why it's called Kickstart. It's to kickstart the process, kickstart the journey. So the College Kickstart planner and membership program is ideal for 7th through 9th graders. Our VIP coaching program is more driven for advanced 9th grade families and 10th through 12th grade families, but there's a limitation in terms of timing when 12th grade families can come in. Okay, so thank you so much for this first edition. And so if you look in the marquee below, you'll also see the link that takes you to our Black Friday sales deals page, and you'll see all the deals, all the specials there that we're talking about here. And you also see another link there. So if you're on Shopify, guess what? College for Free is on Shopify now. Whew, that was a process, but we're there. So we have some of the pieces on Shopify, and we wanted to just keep it simple, put some of the simpler pieces out there. So if you're on Shopify, you can also purchase on Shopify. So go to collegeforfree.shop. That will take you to our Shopify account. All right. So let's take a little break here, because what I need to do is bring in Miss Jackie. So get ready, because we are about to transition. All right. So we're going to take a little quick break, and then we're going to come back. All right.
Hey, Tameka, can you hear me? Tameka, it says I'm in the show. Okay, let me see. Okay, it says I'm in, but I can't see you. Hi, Tameka. Okay, I can hear. Can you see me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Yeah, it says I'm in the show and it shows that, so like I hit stop cam and it shows that I'm not there. I mean, it shows that little face, but then I do.
Is your camera blocked? Because it does. It did change. So yeah,
No.
go ahead.
Okay. No, it's not blocked. Let me go see if there is some, let me see.
It's always when you're doing something great, there's always technology or something that's gonna block us, but we're gonna get through this.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Okay, it should be coming right now. Yeah.
There she go.
So you know what? It still showed me live with another camera, with the virtual camera. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I love Miss Jackie. I do. I tell you, I do. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I love you too. And let me tell you, I love what you do. And I'm in the schools all the time. And
Mhm.
so what you do is so important because I meet so many juniors and seniors, specifically seniors. And I'll say, "So what are you doing next year?" "Oh, I want to go to college." "So where are you going to college?" "Well, I don't know," because and they have no preparation.
None.
Like, and there it's the I, it just it's so sad for me. So I just wish parents would understand like how important it is to plan in advance. And then they'll ask me to help them find scholarship money and they're a senior. And I'm like, this is springtime your senior year. Like, don't you realize scholarships have already happened?
Yeah, Miss Jackie, it breaks my heart. I remember especially when we used to tour with the Black College Expo. I mean, you see it all the time, and parents would come, and so I'll just be like, man. And I think part of the miseducation, because when I started sitting on the secondary, post secondary board here in Atlanta, I was realizing, okay, families expect the counselors, they're expecting the
Right.
counselors to do it, and I'm like, that's not their job.
And
And
they don't realize there's one counselor for 500 kids, or
that
so
part,
even if they wanted to do it, they don't have the capacity.
they don't, and so I'm like, it is don't bash the counselor. They only can do so much. They don't have the bandwidth. the knowledge or anything is not part of their job description.
Right.
Not at all. So I know you feel the pain that I feel all the time. And it's like, I'm not a miracle worker. You only can do so much. And that's why, we keep trying to have these forums where we share the information and encourage families to start sooner. But it's just kind of that frustrating part of this role.
Yeah.
You lead them to water, you can't make them drink.
Yeah. And they don't realize, like you said, I'm glad you're saying starting from 7th grade on, because they don't realize that the process can't just be when they're getting ready to go on a college tour. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, now it's like what class they're going to take in the 9th grade, all of that kind of stuff. I'm preaching to the choir. And here's the thing too, I have to figure out which resource, but I want to purchase one of your resources or something to gift to somebody. And either I'll think of somebody that I know who has kids to gift it to, or if you know somebody, whatever. But I want to do that just because I just think what you do is so important and so needed.
Yes, and what you do is so neat. I was talking to one of my girlfriends probably about a month or so ago. I mean, we talked since then, but I was like, did you go to Miss Jackie's page like I told you? Did you go get that information? Because I need you to get on it. Because I'll be reminded for like, look, now here, let me send you her information. Go, because you need Miss Jackie in your life for your baby.
Well, I appreciate it, but I'm kind of in the same situation where you are, where prevention, like I get the call when somebody has found out that their child is pregnant, or they've had sex, or they've been sending nude pictures, or they've, all of the bad choices. I get the call saying, what can you do to help me? I just found out this about my son or about my daughter. But nobody understands the importance of getting resources for them, before they get in a situation that could. And I don't know what we're going to do to get parents to really, really get the need for education and prevention in advance instead of in a crisis.
Absolutely, because Ms. Jackie, you mentioned they were in some type of sex scandal type of thing where they were sexting. Man, I remember when I put it in the book, and people were like, why are you putting that in the book? It's the last chapter of the book. Why is it in there? I'm like, do you not understand how detrimental that is and can be to their future? Do you not understand that colleges will rescind and have rescinded offers, taking scholarship money, kick kids out of school? Heck, let's talk about adults who have lost jobs. But let's talk about kids again. There are legal implications to this because the laws haven't caught up with where we are with technology. So your baby can facilitate the process and catch a federal case for just sending and sharing files. So I need y'all to get real educated about the importance of prevention and having this conversation a lot sooner.
Yeah, and even like as it relates to college, I'll never forget, right before the pandemic, the week that we got out of school for the pandemic, a coach told me about a senior football player who was really sought out by a lot of D1 schools. He had all these offers from multiple D1 schools. He had just signed his letter of intent to go to this very prestigious D1 school and got caught having sex in the bathroom with a girl underage. Of course, that school rescinded their offer, and none of the other schools who were begging for him wanted him. And he said, this guy came from a home situation that there's no way his parents could afford for him to go to college. He's like, it's very dysfunctional. And he said, at best, he might be able to go to a junior college. He said, but no school is going to take him for that one choice. And yeah.
And see, that whole thing that you talked about underage, there's another misnomer with that. What is considered underage?
Right.
That people don't understand. That varies state to state. Because I know when I was coming up, I mean, we saw a lot of different things, but we wasn't thinking at that level that, oh, she just got an older boyfriend, a senior dating a freshman. Well, a senior dating a freshman nowadays, in many cases, is an underage situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Yes, that one choice that could change the whole trajectory of their lives. And they just, they don't realize it because they've not been educated.
Man, parents, I hope y'all listening. Take these lessons, because that is one of the countless stories that exist out there. Because that young man this may sound a little crass or not as friendly. He got off easy because there are other young men who was in that similar situation who actually got a legal case attached to it, because that student being underage, now you're getting into statutory rape. I mean, and the list goes on. And it depends on the family, and especially when they're athlete. Yeah, let me not even get into that, because that opens the whole can of worms. Miss Jackie, let's talk more. Let's talk about because you got some awesome products. Let's tell those who are not familiar with you more about. We talked about the importance, but more about what's in your book. What are some of the things you share with your babies? Because I know the stories. Sometimes I have to brace myself, like, okay, what kind of stories Miss Jackie sharing today? Because I applaud you. I love what you do, and I'm paying attention to you, Miss Jackie, because I told somebody else. I said, when you do heavy work, because I consider what you do heavy work, and I work with my foster care babies, and I get some heavy stuff out of that, and especially the kids who've been sex trafficked. But I got to do better. Because when you take your moments with nature and you reprieve yourself, that is something I'm looking to do more of next year. But the gravity of what you do and what you take in is so necessary. So can you share more about those pieces? Because I need everybody to understand why they need to run. We got the link scrolling in the marquee, why they need to run and just sell out everything that you have.
Yeah, it is heavy. I just had a friend the other night. I was telling him a story about a young lady who I met in the 9th grade, who in the 9th grade had already had 3-4 sexual partners, none of them being her boyfriend. And it's interesting because then a year later she reached back out to me, and it had gotten even worse. I mean, and she said, "This is what not listening to you did. I'm not one of your success stories." And it's ironically, he was like, how do you handle all of these tough stories? And I do have to go away and go hiking or go take a little vacation. I always go by myself, because I'm like, I don't want anybody to ask me a question. Like, I don't want to give anybody advice. Like, this is my by myself time. But and the young lady just reached out to me again this week.
Wow.
And she just graduated from high school. And she said, I just wanted to give you an update because I've matured a lot. And so this is the thing that I think is so, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. The fact that I have students who are 20, 30 years old who are still keeping in touch with me. And, I had a young lady I met in the dressing room at Marshall's, and she said, oh my God, Miss Jackie, I didn't think I'd ever see you again. She was 24. She was still a virgin. And she said, I just wanted to tell you, thank you. And she said, every time I dated somebody, the thing that you always said in class, if they don't think you're worth the wait, why do you think they're worth the date? And she said, that was my measuring stick. And so she's like, all of my friends say they wish they could do what I did. And she's like, what, have self-control? So, but anyway, so I have been doing this for 20 years. And so, I got tons of stories. I've received over 17,000 letters from high school students. And I think one of the things that makes me so effective at what I do is because I do share so many of my stories and the letters when I'm in the classroom, but I also share them in my products as well. So the girls book that I have, 7 Secrets Guys Will Never Tell You, a Teen Girl's Guide to Love, Sex, and Relationships. And this is why I wrote this book, because I would be in class and the guys would say stuff that I could have said the same thing, but for the girls to hear it from a guy gave it so much more credibility. Yeah. And I would say, wow, I wish I had a video camera that every girl in the world could have heard what these guys just said, because they're brutally honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes the girls didn't want to hear what they were saying because they were a bit too honest about, what they thought and how they behaved. And so one day I said, well, you know what? I can't have a video camera, but I can put it in a book. And so that was my first book that I wrote, which was 7 Secrets Guys Will Never Tell You, a Teen Girl's Guide to Love, Sex, and Relationships. And that one has over 100 letters from high school students and so many case studies and stories from the classroom. And even before I did that book, though, I did a DVD, which was easier to do because all I did was I hired a videographer to come and record an assembly that I did. at a middle school for all boys, one for all girls. And so that helps them to be able to hear the message.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the book so they could read the message. Well, then mom started reaching out to me and saying, but I have a son too. Like, what about my son? And you know how they tell you got to determine an avatar and you can't speak to everybody. So I started out trying to, all of my resources as far as my blog post and everything was for both genders. And then they said, you got to hone in on one. So I did girls and moms of teen girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did a master class, when the pandemic happened, which is, you know, that's the silver lining inside of it, is that it allowed me to know that I needed to go virtual. And so now I'm reaching people all over the world virtually.
Yes, you're in Africa. Your Africa post, right? I'm there in Africa, the kids.
Yeah, so I've spoken to the organization in Uganda for 4 or 5 times. I'm going to speak to them again next month. So virtually, you know, have parents joining from Australia, from the United Kingdom, you know, all of these places. But those moms started saying, but what about our sons? And so I then wrote a book this past year for teen guys. You know, I had to write it a little different because some people told me guys don't like to read. So, you know, they're not going to read that book. So I made the chapters really short. And I made the font bigger so it didn't look like it was a lot. But the thing about that book is at the end of every chapter, I have 5 self-reflection questions that could be used for them individually or as a curriculum or a group study for a youth, you know, a youth group or something. So it's basically I have a 20-week curriculum just in that small book because there are 5 questions that they could use as discussion questions with the group, like at the end of each one of the 20 chapters. But so that's I don't know, I should have brought some water. That's kind of what I do and what I have to offer. But I also have e-courses for moms as well. I have how to have the tough conversations because a lot of moms tell me I don't know how to talk to my daughter about not having sex when she's a teenager because she knows I had sex when I was a teenager because I had her when I was a teenager. And so they're like, I feel like a hypocrite. So I did an e-course, how to have the tough conversations. And it includes that conversation about rape and molestation. Now, you talk about a heartbreaker. That has been an eye-opener for me to realize how many kids have had to deal with rape and molestation.
Oh, oh.
And a lot of times they've never told anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. And then the whole pornography issue is another one that moms don't think they have to worry about with their daughters, but that's a huge issue with girls as well.
Sure is.
So I have that one. And then I have an e-course for girls called Dating Boundaries 101. Because one of the things I found for girls is a lot of them don't have sex because they wanted to have sex. They just didn't have any boundaries set up. And they say, I didn't go there planning to have sex. It just happened. I got caught up in the heat of the moment. And so my Dating Boundaries 101 e-course is a 7 video session. And it has a virtual guide where they follow along and it asks them questions. And at the end of it, they come up with a 1-page game plan about how to set boundaries in people boundaries, places boundaries, physical boundaries, and media boundaries, because that's another one too. They don't understand, you know, garbage in, garbage out.
Absolutely. I may need to we got to talk about that with Miss Jack. I think I need to add that to the course to the families, because I see so much coming out of that piece on so many levels, because you start getting into, you're talking about it from the sex and relationship side, but that also can transcend over into domestic violence, where you don't have those boundaries in place on how to protect yourself and even to recognize the signs that this could be one of those type of situations.
Yeah. And the thing is that one of the things that students say often is what they learn from me doesn't just apply to sex.
Yeah.
And so I try to make it where it's a lot less intimidating for them. It's not this old woman coming in telling us not to have sex. The fact that I talk about the concepts, you know, about other things, about how self-control can benefit you in every area of your life, not just when it comes to sex, then that's how they're able to, it makes it a little more palatable for them. Because I'm not just beating the whole sex message. It's in, like I like to say, I teach towards something and not away from something. So I don't like to scare them out of having sex. I like to talk to them about having dreams and goals and a vision. And then they can make the decision themselves that it's not worth it because they stand to lose too much.
Absolutely. And then you're teaching them principles. You're teaching them life principles that never gets old, never goes out of style. It's always applicable. And it just takes you on a deeper level as you get older and get wiser. So
yes. So it's and I tell parents all the time, I don't want to be their primary educator. Like the primary educator in this area needs to be the parent.
yes.
And so that's why I try to try to empower the teens and equip the parents. And the last e-course that I have is called 10 Ways to Raise a Daughter Who's Fab, which is focused, authentic, and brave. And so you see that applies to more than sex. And that e-course is also in my academy, where it's 10 videos. And at the end of each one of the videos that the parent watches, all the videos between 8 and 15 minutes, there are 3 actionable steps that they can take immediately to empower their daughter and help her increase her self-esteem, have confidence. And so that's 30 steps they can make. But so that's kind of who I am and what I do.
Okay, so if none of that compels you to move, then what they would say in church, your wood is wet. Because let me tell you, we need all those e-courses, all those books. We need every parent I know I've encountered. You need all of that. Because what Miss Jackie just shared with you is the easy side of this process, because she and I both have seen the not so easy side. We've seen the heartbreak, we've seen the pain, the all the ugliness that exists on the backside. And that's what we're trying to get you to this place to prevent, because you don't want to be on the other side. You really don't. So I really hope, again, you see it scrolling, you see that bit.ly address, go and take advantage of everything. You heard us say digital. These are digital virtual classes. Parents, for you, for your daughter, for your son, make it a family affair. Let's have some real conversations about what is it that you want out of your life. How do you plan to get there? What are those boundaries that you need to put up to protect that vision? What are the barriers you need to manage and mitigate that can prevent you from getting there? Because all of this plays a whole part in your scholar's future. So remember, I said earlier, you're not investing in Tameka. You're not investing in Miss Jackie. You're investing in yourself, in your scholar, in their future. These are all tools to help you as a family grow to the next level without all this extra stuff. The world it by itself has given us enough challenges. Don't add to it. Don't add to it. So y'all got to go to Miss Jackie's website. It's scrolling below. Go get this material, because your baby, you will not regret it. Because you will not regret it.
And Tameka, I didn't realize like how interrelated what we do kind of is until I was listening to you before I came on, and I was like, wow. I'm like, she's saying some of the same things I say, even about you're not investing in us, you're investing in your child's future. And then even when you get them to college, like they could still make choices once they get to college. So I had a young lady that I ended up interviewing on my master class. She said she got no financial aid. Her parents paid out of their pocket for her to go to college.
Wow.
2 weeks into college, she got pregnant. Met a guy. She's a freshman. He's an upperclassman. She met a guy. They weren't even dating.
She was fresh meat.
Right. And then she asked me, she says, do you think he could tell I had low self-esteem? I said, absolutely. And she said, I was so impressed because there were all of these pretty girls there who were upperclassmen at the football game. And he picked me. So she's impressed. They start going out, but not in an exclusive relationship. So 2 weeks into her college career, she gets pregnant. And fortunately, like when I interviewed her, she was 26 and she still hadn't graduated, because she said, I missed the whole college experience of living on campus. She said, I was there 1 semester.
Wow.
And then moved home. She said, my job was taking care of my son all day, and I took evening classes. And she said, so I was exhausted, And she said, but my mom, which, she says, my mom says, you had this child. I'm not going to take care of this child. So this is your choice. And so she was just graduating at 26 years old.
Wow.
But I'm glad she didn't give
glad
up.
she did, yeah. Because it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right. But she says, if I had just made that one, and this is what really is heartbreaking. Her son has never met his father. Because the guy tried to get her to have an abortion. She wouldn't do it. And he's never, so the choices that they think, and a lot of parents will say, I got my child out of high school without getting pregnant. I did my job. I've heard that so many times from adults.
I hear it too. Yep.
I did my job. I got him out of high school without getting pregnant. Well, this girl, 2 weeks into her college career, gets pregnant.
And see, parents don't realize once they get to college, they still need you.
Right.
Yes, in the college view, the student is their client. They're not trying to deal with you parents. But that doesn't mean your baby doesn't need you. 19 years old, they still need you, because this is a prime example. You get on campus. I mean, yeah, because we've all seen it. That child who was sheltered at home and they got to campus, somebody showed them a little attention and they just got buck wild. And yes, many of them, yeah, I had a college roommate who ended up home.
Yeah.
Because she got pregnant. I know I had a suite mate who ended up not coming back after first semester because she got pregnant. It is real. It is a reality that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah. And the time they need the information is before they need the information. The time you need to get it to them is before you think they need it. Because the reality is they needed it a long time ago. But she's focused, he's focused, they're not into it. Can take one encounter to change all of that focus into a decision that changes their life.
One smooth talking brother that they have never encountered before, who came with something different. And wait a minute, I ain't heard that before.
Yep.
And it's over. It's like a predator. They know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. And when you're naive and you're just clueless about life, because let's be real, y'all, 19 years old, they clueless about life. 20. I mean, I remember when I was in college, I say God protects babies and fools.
Yes.
Because when we're in college, we think we're invincible. I was very astute, very protective, but there were some decisions I know I made that God just protected me. It could have went way wrong. Way wrong. Yeah. I put myself in some positions where I just thought, oh, I'm good, I got this, where I could have been a victim. So yeah, your child could be the most responsible, most educated child out there. But when they get to college, that's a whole nother ballgame. That's a whole nother world. You encounter a whole different type of person that you must make sure your baby, son and daughter, because there are female predators out there, that they're equipped.
Yeah, I always say smart kids make poor choices. Smart kids make dumb choices. And I'm glad you said that about sons and daughters, because the one thing is, I tell people we've always thought that we need to teach girls refusal skills. Well, now we need to teach guys refusal skills. And because I would have never thought, I started doing this 20 years ago, that it would be easy for me to talk a high school boy out of having sex than it was a girl. And that is becoming my reality. That because guys are like, Miss Jackie, we're caught between a rock and a hard place. There's so many guys who are having sex, not because they want to have sex. They just don't think they have a choice. Because they say if we don't ask her, she's going to think we're cheating. She thinks we're gay, or she thinks we don't find her attractive.
Wow.
And so every time a guy says it in class, the girls are like, that is true, though. I would wonder. So now you have the guy who doesn't really want to have sex, but he feels like if I don't, they're going to question my masculinity.
Yes.
Lord. They're going to question, my whether I care for him or not. And, so parents have not thought about needing to equip their sons, because they have the mentality oftentimes are, well, boys will be boys. But I tell you, boys love to live up to a challenge, and boys are often being boys just because that's what their parents are expecting them to be.
Yep.
I say kids will live up or down to our expectations. And what we have often is we've lowered our expectations so that we're getting exactly what we expect.
That, man, that is such a true statement. Oh gosh, if we don't elevate our expectations, we're going to continue to get the outcomes we're getting. And the other part of that, Ms. Jackie, when you said that, because I'm sure this is now a real factor that we have to add to the conversation. We got to keep adding to the conversation. The whole abortion laws, how that's changing, and how it's I would think that we should really be thinking differently around how we talk to our young ladies and our young boys in these situations, and how to avoid getting into those situations and stuff.
So, and I think you made me think of something, which I told you our stuff is so tied. And this was years ago. This was probably at least 10 years ago. I had a 9th grade boy tell me, he said, Miss Jackie, I don't have to worry about if I get a girl pregnant. He said, when my grandmother found out I was having sex, she set up an abortion fund. Not a college fund. Not a college fund. She set up an abortion fund. He said, so there's already money in the bank to pay for the abortion if ever get a girl pregnant. And I'm like,
got my pearls on, like clutch my pearls. Oh my goodness.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Not a college fund. And the grandmother, but who knows how old the grandmother was, you know? I mean, that's the other thing. I got, you know, a girl who was had a baby at 13 and her mom had her when she was 13. So this woman's 26 years old, a grandchild. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
That is a whole
but yeah, so it's like using it, it's crazy. It's crazy. and I had a girl in class who said, just 2 weeks ago, she said, with the abortion law, she said, I think a lot of us are questioning whether we want to have sex or not. And I'm like, you should have been questioning that, whether the abortion law have changed or not. I'm like, the fact that you're using that as a form of birth control is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. But going back to the cycle, you know, what kind of family dynamics, what kind of family did they come from? And because I've been around kids where, well, that's what I was taught. That's what my mama did. That's what my grandma did. So that's what they expected me to do. I grew up in a house where it was basically a brothel, or I was told that I was only good for laying down and having babies. So that's what I did, and I started doing it earlier because hey, that's what everybody else in my family did, and that was one of those eye-opening experiences for me too, because I had to realize, because I didn't come from that type of background. My mom had me as a teen. But her method of birth control was a very stern hand of saying, you're not going to do it. You better not do it. Not in my house. And she threatened the fear. She put fear in me beyond measure to where I just wasn't crazy to tempt her in that way. But this is a different space. But I know people are probably listening, and because I remember being that person. Oh, well, it's not that difficult, and they should know better. And who would think like that, or why would they want to think like that? And one of the biggest things I've learned, until you walk, this statement has never become more true until I encountered this. Until you walk a mile in that person's shoes, you cannot judge their thought process, because it is very real. How people's minds are impacted, especially at a young age, when you encounter the stories and the lives that we've encountered, and see the path that they've taken. You're just like, yes, it's hard for you to imagine, because we weren't raised like that. That wasn't our story. It's not our story. But it doesn't mean mean that we have the right to judge their story. That's their reality. That's their story. How do we help them get on a better path? How do we help them repurpose that mess that they were, the hand that they held?
Yeah. And that's a message that I share with the students as well, about not being so judgmental. And I share with them a story of a girl who told me she was 18 with 18 sexual partners. And she said the reason her body count was so high was because she got raped in the past. And because she never wanted to get raped again, she said she would never say no to sex. And so I told them, I said, I've never been raped. I said, but to us, it doesn't make sense. But to her, that was her way of being in control. I said, her thing was, the first time somebody asked me to have sex, when I said no, they took it. And my fear is, if I say no again, they'll do the same thing the last person did, So to avoid it being taken again, I'm just going to always say yes. And I say, I guarantee you on her high school campus, she has a horrible reputation. And I said, but nobody knows her story. And I said, instead of you judging somebody that you think is making horrible choices, has a high body count, I said, I want you to ask yourself, I wonder what has happened in their past that makes them believe they don't deserve any better than that.
Yep.
And I think, and I tell people, I'm doing this for 20 years. I probably was a lot more judgmental to teens who made poor choices when I first started 20 years ago. But like you said, after you encounter so many and you hear about their stories and what they're dealing with, I don't ask myself why they do what they do. Half the time I'm like, why wouldn't they? And I'm surprised they're not doing worse, because so many of them have come from so many jacked up home lives. And, so yeah, it's, we could be on here all day.
We sure can. Oh my goodness, Miss Jackie, this has been so great. I just have the utmost respect for you. And I can't wait to see what 2023 brings us. This has been super, super fun. Anything I can do, I'm always, because I love what you're doing. I'm more than glad to do whatever I can. But I'm honored that you was like, you know what, Tameka, I would love to do this with you, because I think the world needs more of Miss Jackie.
Oh, well, I'm so honored that you would even consider asking me to do it. So I was like, that was an easy yes.
Well, Miss Jackie, I want you to enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Okay, I didn't tell her what my Black Friday offer was.
Oh, no, we sure did. Yes.
Girl, we got carried away. So the Black Friday offer is if you purchase one of the books, either the boys' book, The Truth About Sex, or the girls' book, Seven Secrets Guys Will Never Tell You, you get the corresponding DVD for free. And so the DVD is a $20 value. And this is where they will get to hear me and they'll get to read. And the book, this is the one for girls, and also for free shipping. If you're in the United States. I had somebody ask me about free shipping internationally, and I was like, the shipping is more than the cost of the book. So
right.
No, that's just for the US. But
we can't do that. That means y'all gonna get both, because these are good stocking stuffers. These are great gifts for the holiday. Invest gifts that's going to give life. I know we get all these toys and clothes and all this stuff. Get them something that's gonna give them life. So that means you need to get both.
It's funny because I've had 3 situations that I think is really interesting, how people bought the books, but not for them. So I had the first guy, when I first wrote the first book, a friend of mine bought 10 copies and he said, I don't even know who I'm going to give them to, but whenever I meet somebody that I feel led. And so he emailed, he's like, I've given one to a waitress. He's like, he keeps a copy of the books in his car. And when he said, sometimes I've given to, cashiers in the store, just if we get in a conversation, but he's one of those people that, meets people and talks and is led by the spirit of, I just felt led to give it to you. Then I had another father who kept a book for girls, that anytime his son got a girlfriend, he made her read the book for girls. And he said, in addition to teaching my son his value, I want every girl that he dates to know her value. And then I had another mom who she bought 10 books of the girls. She was going to do a book club. And she said, I never did the book club. I just started giving them out to young ladies I knew. And then she bought 6 or 10 books of the boys' book, and she gives them as graduation gifts. So this would be a great time to purchase, even if you don't have a teen, to purchase a gift for graduation. Get them before they get to college so they don't go to college and get pregnant their freshman year. Birthday present, Christmas present, and you get free shipping and you get the free DVD, which is a $20 value.
And a just because present, just because I love you and I want to see you win.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. that's true.
Yeah. So
that has to be a special occasion. You can make it a special occasion.
Make it a special occasion. Absolutely.
Good point.
So it's sow a seed in some young babies' lives today. And y'all heard us say it ain't just middle, high school. Get them before they get to college. If they're already in college, it's not too late for them to learn either. Get it for your college students, because things happen on those college campuses. All right. So Miss Jackie, it's definitely been a pleasure. I can't wait for us to connect again soon. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. And I'll get back with you on purchasing one of your resources for me to gift to somebody as well, because that's equally as important.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Miss
Okay.
Jackie.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think I just all right. So you know what? I'm just gonna bring AJ in so that way I don't have split screen. Yeah, that was super, super dope. I know AJ, I saw your chat.
Whoa.
Love Miss Jackie. Hey AJ.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Tameka?
I'm good.
Man,
Man.
that conversation, I'm sitting here like, oh my goodness.
You're like, I need to get some a peanut, huh?
Jeez, I have an 11-year-old daughter, and I'm listening to some of the conversations you guys are having. Like, man, I need to start preparing myself. This is gonna be a couple years away. And time
But you
flies.
know what, AJ, really not even a couple of years, because let me tell you, I've been following. I forget how long ago it's been since I met Miss Jackie. So she has stories of babies younger.
Wow.
So yeah,
Man, the world has
changed. The world has changed and continues to change. So yeah, don't think that you got a few years. You know, she's focused. She got her head on straight, which is good. She got you and your wife, but
right.
It's never too early to plant those seeds.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good. I love your background over there. I need to step my game up, Tameka. I was looking at you and Miss Jackie's background like, wait a minute.
And I'm like, how you the marketeer mastermind? How do you not have? I think well, you know, because usually you're used to us in the background. It's usually so work sessions, because I see one sticky note and there's usually a plethora of sticky notes and a white page or something.
Right. It's over there. It's a big giant sticky pad over there. There's one over there with all my roadmap. I'm the story of the person that works in a beauty salon or barbershop that never have their hair done. That's me.
Oh God! So yeah, we just came in and started talking because hey, it's Tameka and friends. So I told you I'm very careful about who I bring in front and who I expose my tribe to, and they are the same way. So I mean, we all have equal respect for one another. But let me introduce, because I think me and Miss Jackie just started talking. I really did introduce her. So this is Anthony AJ Joyner. Man, he wears many hats, many talents. But I'm gonna let AJ just tell you a little bit about who he is and what he wanted to share, because he does a lot of great things, and so I'm just let him share at his leisure here.
Yeah. So thank you, Tameka, and thank you for having me on. This is really exciting. So AJ, so I'm a kid from a small town in Louisiana, and I was raised probably a lot like you were, Tameka, when you talked about having that hard hand that kept you straight.
Yeah.
I was raised primarily by my grandmother, and I watched her literally have 5 jobs from the time I was a child. So I picked up on her work ethic and her ability to make something out of nothing. So I've spent my life sort of finding the gaps in the market and trying to fill those gaps. My background is technology, so I've leveraged technology over the past probably 2.5 decades to build solutions, both service-based solutions, and now I finally built a software-based solution, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But in the business space, I've helped people such as Tameka and people who are in media, radio, TV, build their personal brands. And this is before, like, the world right now, at post-pandemic or during the pandemic, everybody has a brand, a podcast, a this or that. I started doing that about a decade ago, actually. So, helping people build their brands, that's been my thing. And I'll give you the fast forwarded version of how we got to my software. So about maybe 2013, I wrote a book called Instagram Marketing on Fire. And as fate would have it, that book launched right around the same time that Facebook purchased Instagram. So the book sort of took off and I sold a lot of copies. Then I turned that process that I followed to write my book into a written process. And I wrote 2 more books very quickly: Instagram marketing for restaurants, Instagram marketing for barbershops and beauty salons. And then some of my peers said, AJ, how are you writing all these books? So then I took that process of writing books and I turned it into this book right here called Stop BSing and Write Your Book. And again, I'm always evolving, right? So people started following that process and buying the book. So I turned the book into a workshop. And then I partnered. I'm on a show called the Willie Moore Jr. Show. So I created a brand called Books Across America. And the way that worked is I would travel.
The syndicated Willie Moore Jr. Show. Okay.
Yes. So I would travel to different markets that the radio show was in, and I would do 2 or 3 day book writing workshops. Pandemic happens, we can't travel anymore. I throw all the people that I've worked with into a big Facebook group, and I continue to help people. And now I formally started a publishing company, but I hated it from day one, specifically during the pandemic. And here's why. We would have, maybe 25 or 30 authors going through the writing process, but I hired editors and book cover designers and ghostwriters and all the things. But then COVID, right? So my editor would have COVID and would be gone for 2 weeks. And then I had maybe 4 editors. So 2 of them at one time would have COVID. Then my author would have COVID and my book cover designer. It was like whack-a-mole, right? So the process was so disjointed that one of my really dear friends that I actually convinced her to write a book. She wrote the book and she calls me on a Friday night. I think it was actually November 13th, 2020. I think that's the actual date. So wow. I'm sitting on the phone with her. She says, AJ, my book launch is supposed to be Tuesday and I don't know what's going on with my book. They keep giving me the wrong copy. And so I had no idea what was going on because I wasn't in the details of the project. Anyway, that night I was literally sitting where I am now. And after I hung up the phone, out of frustration, I just said, why isn't there a software to manage that entire process? So that editors could log in, writers could log in, the writer could actually speak their stories into the software. It could organize their thoughts so that everybody had access to one source of truth as it relates to the manuscript. So I stayed up, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. I was up to about 6:45 in the morning, just sort of mapping out what the software looks like. I went over to Upwork, and I still have it actually in my history of my Upwork. And I hired a company in India to start building something that I had mocked up. So I took pictures of what I mocked up on the wall, sent it to them. And 3 days later, I had a PDF of what will become the software that I built today. And currently we have a couple universities that are using the software. We have a couple hundred writers. We have probably 17 or 18 universities that are in the pipeline. It's just, it's really growing. And Tameka honestly has been there from the beginning. I don't even think I had a name for it when I first started telling you about it, Tameka. It was just software that I wanted to build to simplify the writing process and help people take their stories and speak them into the software. Then I added artificial intelligence to make it easier. One of the things that I started doing, and this is actually prior to the pandemic, is I have a bunch of recordings of conversations that I've had with my grandmother. The reason being is that specifically as African Americans, so many of our family stories get lost when our older generation pass away, right? And in some of the conversations with my grandmother, and I'll digress in a second, Tameka, but I found out that my grandmother, as a child in small town, a place called Anacoco, just outside of Leesville, Louisiana, one of her jobs is she actually cleaned houses, and she was a domestic worker. But one of the people whose houses she cleaned was a Klansman. Wow. And she was 13 years old. I think she said she was 13, and she couldn't look him in the face. And they would tell her, your family is safe as long as you do a good job. Don't look anybody in the face. And she said she would be in their living room cleaning, and their robe would be on the couch.
Wow.
Right. So it's just rich stories like that. And you never know some of the things that your, great grandparents and grandparents had to go through and here we are 2 generations later. I have a cousin who graduated from Harvard. I have the seeds that she planted in us because she wasn't able to get the education. All of us had to go to Southern. All of her siblings went to Southern. She had to drop out of school to raise them. They all went to Southern and graduated. Then her kids went to Southern. And then you're right, it became a thing. So all those stories, right? And wouldn't it be great if there was a software that you could just have a conversation with your grandmother and the software would transcribe that conversation and it would already be organized? That's what I built.
Absolutely. Because I think when you first shared, I didn't know that story, but I remember when you shared that part, because I think you inspired me to try to get some of that information, because I knew a lot of our elders were, we didn't have that many left, they were leaving. Unfortunately, I didn't get to really do that because I think that was right before my Aunt Evelyn, because my Aunt Evelyn used to share some things with me, but I didn't get to get all of those pieces from her. And then my grandmother was at early onset stage of Alzheimer's, who we lost this year. So I didn't even get to get those stories, but you had inspired me to try to start seeking them out and start asking some questions. So I think that is paramount, especially in our families, in our culture. That's something we definitely should do if we haven't.
Yep. So I think, building that, initially it was the frustration of solving the problem of, too many people in too many different places and too many different tools, all that it required to publish your book, right? But then this is just very low-hanging fruit to where you can start to document your family lore, like the stories that get lost when you get together with your cousins at Christmas. I know we're in the holiday season and people will see their family members. What if you could capture those conversations and turn those into a family book? Right.
Oh yeah, Miss Jackie, she commented on how she sad story about your grandmother, but she loved the purposes of you using your software to capture those stories of our elders. I think that should be I think that's an assignment. Okay, the professor has coming on. I think that's an assignment everybody listening can work on this holiday season, because we got this one and the other one coming up. So that means you got to get Blooksy, so you can start capturing, because you heard him say, and I didn't want to share it earlier, you get to speak into the software and it types it out for you. Man, that was just like awesome for me. But okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, AJ.
So that's what we built. That's what we built. And again, the initial premise was to to accelerate the writing process by helping authors, number one, organize their thoughts into a very succinct outline that you can follow. Number two, we put a notes section in each chapter so that when you write the chapter, you can document your notes that you have right there in the chapter. Every author that I've ever worked with, they have this in their hand. They have a journal or a notebook or something that they keep their notes in, but we built it right into the software. Then the third part is, what if you had a topic that you wanted to talk about, but you ran out of ideas, right? Well, we built in artificial intelligence so that you can just type your idea into the artificial intelligence. It will go out, it will scour the web, it will find content that's related to your content, and it will create original content based on the content that you typed in. Now you can take what the artificial intelligence writes and you can rewrite it for your voice, right? And now there's a couple of different things that comes up with that, especially in the academic space. So AJ, what about plagiarism? What about if I didn't write it myself? So what we're building now is we're building a plagiarism checker directly into the software platform, so that when the AI goes out to create content, you can run it through the plagiarism checker and see, okay, how much of this is original, blah, blah, blah. The other part that we're building is a citation tool, so that whatever is aggregated, you can cite the source, which is very important in academia, right? So I have one young lady, she's finished, I think, 4 books using artificial intelligence. Her niche is mental health. So what she does is she has one book, specifically high level overview about mental health, and then she'll go into different components of mental health. And she's written a bunch of different books. And what happens over time, if you have a bunch of books on Amazon, you can very easily generate, a couple extra $1,000 a month just by having 3 or 4 books on Amazon in one specific niche, right? So again, we're just empowering people to, number one, share their stories, share their knowledge and expertise, write their academic, articles and scholarly writing and things like that. We have poetry section. And if it's cool, Tameka, I'll do a demo in a second.
I was about to say, yeah, AJ, you got to demo it. You're going to have to share your screen. You're going to have to demo this.
Right.
I need them to really see the power of Blooksy, because I told y'all I had a deadline, 5 days.
Yep.
5 days. It was down to the wire. And I called AJ.
Yes.
I called AJ. He was like, AJ, I'm stuck here. And he was like, okay, let me tell you about this tool.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. It was done, I think, in 3 days.
Yep, you finished. But Tameka, you're an exceptional case, because you're when you say you're going to do something, you will literally stay up all night and do it, right? I mean, and again, we built it to make it easy for everybody. But the way that you surprised me, because I remember that day, it was a Saturday afternoon, so Tameka was one of the first people in what we call the alpha version. So in software development, there's an alpha product and a beta product. What alpha means is it's not necessarily ready for public yet, but your internal team can test it, right? Tameka signed up for the alpha version of the product, and she still finished her book. And I think it was Saturday, and she finished Thursday, I think, or something like that. Maybe
Yeah,
I think it was Thursday.
I hit my deadline.
I remember Tameka. As a matter of fact, Tameka's story was in one of the pitch competitions that I was a part of, and I ended up winning first place. Tameka, I have a big picture of you holding your book. I have a screenshot of the Facebook post that you had. Like, all of that was in my presentation, and I ended up winning some money because of that story. But yeah, Tameka was been on since the alpha version of the product. So she's seen not only the evolution from the idea when I first thought of it, but I don't think she saw the PDFs of it, but she saw the first, and I call it the ugly version. But that's another thing I just want to say, and this has nothing to do with writing. A lot of times we have ideas as entrepreneurs, and even as people, you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but a lot of people have ideas and they think, well, I should do this thing. But then what happens is they start thinking about the end product that they want. And they think, okay, if I can't get to that end product, then I can't even do it, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to start with something ugly and evolve.
Yes, that
part. Right? Like, just get started. And again, the first part may not look good, because if you're waiting for perfection, a lot of people I've seen so many people, and I have my own membership group with a couple hundred writers in there. And I shared it into the group, so some of them are probably watching, but so many people have amazing and brilliant ideas, and they never come to life because they feel like it has to be perfect before they share it to the world. Right.
Man, AJ, I was that person. And I don't know if he's listening. I don't know if my boy Jack Daniels. I remember Jack telling me. I know Jack, yeah. JD, because he's like, to me, one of his phrases, get out of your own way. Yes. And those who know me, I'm an engineer. So engineer by trade, we don't just throw stuff out there. We want to test it and retest it and make sure it's right before we put it before you. And I remember him telling me, girl, if you don't get out of your own way, because while you're trying to perfect it, somebody's already published it and getting clients and making money off your idea. He said, I need you to think like Google and like how Apple do things. They release it. Do you not understand their releases, the updates? That's them perfecting the errors. They're using the audience, us, as their test market to help find the defects, and then they submit the corrections in the updates. That's how you need to approach this. Get out of your own way. He's like, Eddie, you trying to edit, girl? Publish that book. And then just do it, publish an update if there are corrections. Get out of your own way. And he was the first person who really challenged me to shift my mindset from that perfection. I tell people I'm a recovering perfectionist. So if you're listening, I need y'all to get that message. Go ahead and publish it, because I know one of my other mentors, in John Maxwell, they used to tell us, look, jump out of the plane and build your wings on the way down, because nothing is ever going to be perfect. While you're in analysis paralysis, you're going to stay stuck there. And that's what tends to happen.
And it happens so much, Tameka. And Jack is absolutely right. If you look at your iPhone, they come out with the hardware, and that software, they update it every week, almost every 2 or 3 weeks, you're getting an update, right? So again, it's real-time feedback. It's uncomfortable when you're an entrepreneur or you're smaller, right? Because you tend to over-index on the fact that people are seeing what you're doing. And people are talking, but most of the time people actually don't really care. Like, they'll see it and they may or may not say something, but you gotta put it out there. You gotta I just pulled this up, Tameka. Can I share my screen real quick? I just want to show people. Okay, let me see.
And share.
Oh, there we go. Present. Let's see. I just want to share my whole screen. I just want to show you guys. Let me see. I'm going to do my whole window. Share. Okay, can you guys see?
Nothing's come up yet.
Nothing's come up yet? Okay, it says it's sharing. You see it now? I see it on the other window.
So I wonder if oh, you know what? Let me add it to stream. So I'm gonna take myself out of stream and I'm gonna add
Yes. So just really quickly, I just wanted to show you guys, this is a early like PDF of all the different ideas that I had for what Blooksy would ultimately become. And a lot of this stuff is still true, but you know, again, this is one of the first mock-ups that I did, and it was just a PDF. And this is this is actually what Blooksy looked like many, many moons ago. And I'll show you guys what it looks like now. And Tameka, do you remember this screen when I first built it? I had my little hip hop beaver on here, brainstorm and write and publish faster together. Man, this looks terrible, but you know what? This was my version 1. And we've since evolved. So now if you look at what we have, it looks much better, right? I'm a creative writer, I'm an academic writer. You can explore the different components that we have. So again, I've gone from this, what you guys see, this ugly blue thing that I just, you know, had my little character and I sketched it out and had an artist come in and render it, to this much more professional looking thing. But again, it's been a 2-year process, right? So anyway, I just wanted to tell, you know, I know there's someone that's watching this. You have an idea, you're sitting on it. I know the top of the year is when people get really motivated to share things, but put yourself out there and share it, right? So now what I want to do now is just go into Blooksy and do a quick demo. So if you're in the comment section and you're interested in writing a book, just type in the chat that I'm interested in writing a book, so I can speak specifically to any questions that you may have. And I agree, if you want, just go ahead and share this on Facebook and share with a friend, or maybe share it on LinkedIn. But I want to get into the demo component, right? So let's talk about the biggest problems that people have as it relates to writing and publishing books, right? So some of the biggest problems, whoops, I'm going to go in, app.blooksy. Some of the biggest problems that people have, number one, everybody struggles with writer's block. I don't care who you are. If you've ever struggled with writer's block, I want you to type writer's block in the chat, just so that I can see how many people have actually struggled with writer's block. Hey, Pam. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Joseph. Anyway, yes, so writer's block is a real big thing. And part of the writer's block is we know the content that we want to share, but sometimes it's hard going from here in your head to paper, right? So one of the things that I suggest that authors do is very quickly think about what are all the high-level ideas that you want to share in your book, right? So here's an example. If you are writing a memoir, and I shared a story a minute ago about my grandmother, how, you know, she had to drop out of school and raise her siblings, and how when she was a young child, she worked for the Klan as a domestic worker, and on and on and on. So if I wanted to write a memoir, I could start out with one of the stories I want to share. I can say, you know, grandmother drops out of 5th grade to raise her siblings because she was the oldest of 10, or the second oldest of 10. Or I want to share the story of my grandmother's making sacrifices for her family. So she ended up working for people who didn't have her best interest in mind, or didn't have her people's best interest in mind. But those are some of the sacrifices that she had to make. So I would quickly create an outline, and I would have those two things done. So now let me show you how easily you can do that in Blooksy. So give me a second here. All right, so we're going to call this, and I'm going to tell you what's on the screen first, and then I'll get into the storytelling component. So the way we built this is based on templates, because one of the things that we found with our writers is once the manuscript is done, there are a lot of things that have to happen before it gets to book. So we built specific templates to make things easier for writers as they go through this process. Okay, so I'm going to call this grandmother's sacrifices. Okay, that's the name of my book. I'm Anthony Joyner. The things Neva, my girl's name is Neva Joyner, did directly impacted my success. whatever. Okay. So that's my book title, subtitle, and name. Okay. Now, if you don't have a title, you don't have to worry about that. Don't let that be a stopping point, because it will just default to your name and title. So if this was Tameka, it would just say Tameka's nonfiction book, right? It'll say your name plus the type of book that you have. Okay. So if you select create book, I wanted to create the experience of an author actually being inside of a book in the software, right? So if you look at the way that we've laid it out, it's sort of like being in a book. There's some things that we did to accelerate the process. Number one, copyright, right? So before you publish, you would have to get a copyright for your book. Well, we built it in so that, we built this in so you don't have to think about it, right? Copyright 2022, Anthony Joyner. I can customize this however I want to, so that, now I don't have to go out and pay for copyright, or I don't have to Google a copyright page and copy paste and all that stuff. It's already there, right? The other thing that happens is just about every author that I've ever worked with, they come to me and they say, AJ, here's my manuscript, is done. I say, not quite, Tameka, we need your dedication. We need your acknowledgments. We need all these things, right? That's called front matter. Those are the things that you ignore in the front of your book. Well, we use this as a teaching moment. What is the dedication? So you literally click on it and it tells you what belong in that section. Okay. Same thing with acknowledgments, forward, all the things. So again, we wanted to take the thinking out of the process so that you can focus on content. Okay. The other thing that we wanted to do is, again, accelerate and organize, right? So if we're talking about my grandmother's story, let's see, grandmother drops out of school, right? So that's one of the stories I want to share. As an author, when you start, don't worry about the whole story right now, right? The first thing you want to do is think through what are the stories you want to tell, and just go through and very quickly add those stories. So that's chapter 1. If I click add, boom, see how quickly another chapter pops up. Grandmother's work as a grandmother's domestic work. Okay. Now, I've been talking about this, 30, 45 seconds. I already have 2 chapters outlined of what I want to share in my book if we were writing a book about that story, right? Here's another thing. Table of contents already updated. So if you're in Microsoft Word, if anybody's ever tried to add a chapter in Microsoft Word, you got to click on insert and page break, and then you got to insert your table of contents, and then you got to refresh and all these different things you have to do. Well, we made it simple, right? Now, if you want to edit and modify the order, you want to rearrange your chapters, you just click on edit. You can drag and drop your chapters just like that, right? And it automatically updates there as well, right? So just what I've shown you so far, if you think that would help you with your book writing process, just type, I think it would help in the chat. I just want to make sure that I'm connecting with you guys. All right. So now let's keep going. Again, we built a notes section in each chapter so that you can organize your thoughts right in line with the chapter that you're writing about. Right. So I could say grandmother. And these are just notes for me as a writer, so that when I come back to this story, I know the details that I wanted to add, okay? So grandmother made lots of sacrifices. Okay, now transcription. This was a big game changer, because everyone knows the stories that they want to tell, but the hardest part, I think Pam said it a little bit earlier, writer's block and overwhelm, right? So now I can click on start recording, and I can just speak my story into the software. My grandmother made lots of sacrifices as a young parent and sibling. She dropped out of school so that she could help raise her siblings so that they could go off and have a better life for themselves, because she was the oldest of 10 siblings, and those were the expectations of the day. Okay, so I hit stop recording, and now it's here. Now, here's one thing. If you notice right now, we don't have punctuation built in, but by next Friday, it will be built in. So it'll automatically add periods, it'll automatically capitalize, it'll automatically add commas and things like that. But for right now, we've had, hundreds of people write their books by just speaking it. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman, his name is Captain Bill Pinkney. He was the first African-American Black man to sail around the world on a 72-foot boat. He is 87 years old. I met him a year ago, the first weekend in December in Puerto Rico. By March, he had his first manuscript done. By June, I think it was June or July, he launched his book at the Chicago Maritime Center. And what he told me is, AJ, I've been wanting to write my book forever, but that transcription made it so easy. So an 87-year-old in 3 months went from having this amazing story that he wanted to share with the world to using Blooksy, creating his first version of his manuscript, hiring an editor to come in and do all the edits, and he's published now, right? If an 87-year-old gentleman can do it, you can too. And it took him 3 months. So anyway, let's keep going, all right? So now, artificial intelligence, I named it Avon. If you notice, my grandmother's name is Neva. I said it earlier. I named this after my grandmother. It's her name backwards because she has some of the most incredible stories, and I've been documenting those stories too. So let's talk about domestic, talk about sacrifices. SCES, parents for their, we'll call the topic sacrifices. Now, what we want to do is we want to have a topic about what we want to write about, then we'll describe it. So let's see, what are 3 sacrifices African American parents in the 1940s. We're really testing this real time made so that their children could have a better life. All right. So again, we're testing this real time. So I'm going to say sacrifice for children, African American sacrifices for the community, and let's see, sacrifice for a better future. All right, I'm gonna leave it right there. Now, the way the artificial intelligence works is it will look at these keywords that I've created. It's gonna go out and it's gonna query the entire web, and it happens in nanoseconds. And I could go into detail on how it works, but that will bore you guys to death. So now we're gonna click on use Avon up past 100 characters. Let's see, African American sacrifices. Okay. And let's see if that'll work there. All right. So now we have this program so that in under 25 seconds, our artificial intelligence will create up to 12 paragraphs from anywhere from 3 to 12 paragraphs about your topic. Okay. Now, the goal for this is not for it to replace you as a writer. The goal for this is to inspire you to think about something that maybe you hadn't thought about before. So that it can accelerate your writing process. So let's just test and see. Let's see. African-American parents in the 1940s made 3 major sacrifices so their children could have a major life. The first was giving up their own education so their children could go to school. The second was working long hours at low-paying jobs to provide for their families. The third was being active in the civil rights movement to ensure that children would have the same opportunities as white Americans. See, again, very simple. But again, it just gave me some things that I could think about as a writer that would help me, right? Here's another one. African-American parents in the 1940s made sacrifices to their children. Let's see, they sacrificed their own comfort for safety and ensure that children had what they needed. They also sacrificed their time and energy for fighting equality and justice. Lastly, they sacrificed their own dreams and aspirations. So again, you see the AI will go out and create content, but let's test it again and have it create some more, right? So if you like these choices, you can click on the heart and save it. If you want more choices, you just click on create more and it will go out and it will write more, right? So you can see how you can use this to, again, not only come up with new ideas, but to think about things that you hadn't thought about before. An example is that this is being used at University of South Florida, for example. They wrote what's called a call for proposal, which is typically a 12-week writing process with 6, I think in their case, it was 8 professors. They use this artificial intelligence, and from 12 weeks, it took them 8 days to answer their proposal, because the artificial intelligence was able to give them so many ideas, and then they would just rewrite it, right? So it cut their production time from 10 to 12 weeks down to 8 days, 8 to 10 days, right? So again, this can really accelerate your writing process, right? And look at this one. African-American parents in the 1940s had to make great sacrifices for children, and men sacrifices their own time and resources to make sure that children had a proper education. It also meant making sure that children had a positive community support to help them succeed. Finally, it meant instilling a positive future outlook in their children, blah, 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 right? So again, this accelerates the process. It helps you organize your thoughts in a very structured way. And by the way, if you want to collaborate with Tameka, or you want to add someone else to your writing, you can just simply add their email address here, give them the permission that you want them to have. And now everybody's working in one single document. Now, if you've ever written a book before, or you've ever written something that you had to turn in, whether it's a paper in college or something like that, you know the struggle as it relates to saving your documents and keeping up with versioning. Because my first book, I had first book final underscore date, first book final, because you keep going back and you make revisions, and you have other people, adding their feedback, et cetera, et cetera. We built this so that you could collaborate in one document. You don't have to worry about saving 25 different versions of it. Okay. The other thing that we did to simplify it was we preloaded it with all the best, with all the sizes for publishing, right? So now you just choose the book size you want, and bam, it's already formatted for that book size. So you can just download it, or you can add your editor. Once he's finished, you download it, and now you're off to the races. One other thing we added was the ability to change your different fonts. Now, we kind of control this, because I think what we've seen in the past is if you give people too much freedom as it relates to fonts, you get some really weird font pairings. So we chose the most popular font pairings, and we paired them together so that it would automatically apply that to your book, right? So, and let's look here. You can copy and paste your content that the artificial intelligence created right into the platform. And now you have a really good looking book that came together. And this took under 5 minutes, or maybe 6 or 7 minutes. You can have your book done in 4 to 6 weeks using Blooksy. Specifically, if you know the stories that you want to tell, just boom, just like I just did, you can do the same thing, right? So really quickly, is there anything that you guys have been thinking about as it relates to writing a book, whether it's a poetry book or a self-help book, or maybe you're an expert like Tameka. Tameka's an expert in helping families find money for college, or helping, families send their students to college for free. What is your expertise? And have you thought about writing a book? And I want to make sure that I can answer any of those questions. Again, because we built this to, number one, help you organize your thoughts. Number two, help accelerate the writing process. And number three, bring all of the people that are involved in the process together so that you're all working from one document. So let me know what y'all think. I know I've done this so many times. And let me just share. So we have one young lady, I think I mentioned her earlier, Tameka, 4 books. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And if I need to share it again, then I will. Let's see, Tameka. There we go.
There we go. I'm back.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were talking about the scholar?
Yes. So like I said, we have professors that are using it. If you're local in Atlanta, we have Kennesaw State University. We have Morehouse School of Medicine. We have Auburn. People at Auburn are using it. We have Concordia in Chicago using it. We have demos coming up with, God, so many different colleges. But again, we built this specifically for writers, but we do have academic templates as well for the people in academia. We're also building grant templates.